I believe most of you have ever marked students' exams. What comments do you usually raise after marking when doing corrections in the classroom? In one way or another, we have edited their work. It may not be the first time for many of you to hear about the word editing. I remember when I wrote my first coursework at the university, the computer person who was to print my work said that my work was not edited well. This person charged me for editing my work, and it became better than when I brought it for printing. You too could have different ideas about what editing is and what it entails. Some say it is proofreading and formatting your work. As we shall see later on, editing may be laborious, especially after committing some time on writing. However, from the working definition of editing, you'll find that it will be mandatory and a necessity for you to edit your work before you publish it. In this case, before you hand it over to the faculty. By the end of this session, therefore, you should be able to explain what reviewing of study materials means, establish what to focus on while editing, and you can be able to edit your own work. So, what is editing? Editing is a process of developing ideas and manuscripts in published books. Editors stand between writers and readers, making sure that the two understand each other. Editors act as bridges for communication. They help writers to reach readers. In fact, readers expect editors to help writers meet the readers' needs. Editors meet these expectations by transforming raw manuscripts into clear, readable, and captivating books. Depending on the complexity of a publishing establishment, there may be many types of editors, each playing a different role, or one editor playing most of these roles with occasional help from part-timers. In distance learning, the module writer is expected to be the first person to edit his or her work. In your own thinking, what do you think are the elements that need editing in the module, and how can they be improved? The areas could be 1. The structure of the materials. This covers the relationship between this unit and other units, the sections and subsections, students' activities, and the flow of the whole text. 2. Content. This includes originality of the work and acknowledgements of what is borrowed. The appropriateness of handling of the content should also be considered. Much of this has been talked about by the former speaker. 3. The use of visuals and illustrations. Again, this one also has been talked about by the former speaker. 4. The language and pitch used in the text. This has also been well tackled by the former speaker. Usually, reviewers of various types contribute to the editorial process. These include the subject experts, those practically teaching the subject review the content. 2. The distance education experts, who review format structure, illustration, language, and the instructional design. And 3. The peers, who review the content, the language, the format, and the suitability of illustrations. Therefore, if you do not want to have problems with your written piece of work, in this case the module, you need to write well your piece from the beginning, because the reviewers and editors may not find your work to a standard it is supposed to be. After getting some hints on how to write from the previous speakers, it may be clear that writing may not be easy either. You need some ideas to start with. There are a number of models that could be used to develop your course, but our emphasis will be mainly on 2 here. There is the author-editor model and the course team model. The author-editor model is traditionally favored by dual-mode institutions for creating study materials. In this model, a subject expert drafts the original course materials, and an editor or the editorial staff produces the final course. Here, a multi-skilled course author creates nearly all the content and makes all the decisions about instruction, though technical media specialists may assist. The quality of the materials will be dependent on the range of skills that the author and editors bring to the development. Assuming that they have the range of skills required for distance education design and have adequate time to spend on the development, this approach can be very effective in developing learning materials more quickly without the demands of obtaining consensus of large course teams. In the course team model, each course is designed and produced by a team, which may be as large as 20 people, of many different specializations. The objectives, content, and delivery alternatives are debated collaboratively, not only by content specialists, but may include radio and television producers, instruction designers, multimedia experts, librarians, editors, and external consultants. A senior academic usually chairs the team, and very often a dedicated project manager is assigned to schedule and manage the work of the team members. This is what happened the first workshop of module writers of the Faculty of Education when they developed the curriculum and were grouped to write some modules. Now a question arises. Of the two course development models, which one do you recommend for Uganda Matters University and why? After writing, as earlier said, it is important that you do the editing yourself. Editing is done at two different levels. First, at the macro editing level, look at the content coverage. Is it exhaustive? Does it cover the whole syllabus? Does the content meet the set objectives? Examine the depth of coverage, that's in terms of scope. Say whether the material is pitched at the right level. Are content, language, and style suited for the target group? Determine whether the material is organized well enough to facilitate learning. See to it that the material is of appropriate length and is well balanced. Ensure that the writing style is clear and consistent throughout the text. Is it the appropriate style in light of the student's needs and the subject matter? You should note that the content editor and the peer reviewer will look at the above. You are the content editor and the peer reviewer at the same time when you are writing your module. So make sure that you cater for the above. And in addition, examine the suitability of headings, subheadings, and any other illustration that you have put there. Study the nature and relevance of activities, their variety and quality of these activities. Examine the format and layout of the work basing on the house style, which the next speaker is going to talk about. Check the availability and relevance of recommended books. Study the nature of the written assignment and examine the relevance and usefulness of illustrations and visuals you have used in your module. 2. Micro-editing level. After finding out that the above are well catered for in the module you have written, then attend to all inconsistencies in the work. Inconsistencies in facts, spellings, punctuation, language styles, among others. Eliminate spelling errors and language inconsistencies. Iron out problems of organization. Does the work adhere to the recommended house style? Are the sections of the work properly sequenced? Ensure that graphics serve their rightful purpose and that they are correctly placed and labeled. Attend to all the typographical errors. That is to say, now you do the proofreading. Attend to the design and layout of the work. You may mark up the text for typesetting if you know how to use the proofreader's marks and the typesetter understands them. Conclusively, we can say edited work becomes clear and shows how knowledgeable you are in your piece of writing. So please learn the editing skills to make sure that you become a good writer. For editing skills are built not by knowing rules but by practice. Then the 10 commandments for copy editors do not apply to your work because it is good. These commandments are: thou shalt challenge the facts, thou shalt challenge the structure, thou shalt challenge every sentence, thou shalt challenge every group of words, thou shalt challenge every word, thou shalt challenge the right of every fact, sentence, phrase, or word to be in the manuscript, thou shalt challenge what is not said, thou shalt challenge every heading, subheading, or caption, thou shalt challenge every letter, thou shalt challenge every punctuation mark. Dear colleagues, We have now come to the end of this presentation, which mainly aimed at giving you some tips on how to edit your work after writing the module. Can we now say that you can affirmatively say, I can now review the study materials, I can know the focus areas while editing, and certainly I can be able to edit other people's work in case I am asked to be a peer reviewer. So let us practice our editing skills in the modules that we are going to write, so that we'll have the best to present to the students and to the learners.